You are watching No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and these are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? What's driving me crazy are these insane hearings for Amy Coney Barrett. The confirmation hearings began yesterday, and we discussed this on the show. She gave her opening statement, and then basically she just had to sit there for hours and hours hearing alternately how horrible she is and how great she is. What an incredible waste of time. So now it's day 2, and I have the same reaction. What an incredible waste of time. You have 22 senator blowhards all getting a half an hour each. A half an hour each to ask her questions. This is ridiculous. They should have given them maybe 5 to 10 minutes each. What more is there to ask? She already was vetted by this exact same forum, this exact same body. She already was asked every question in the world, and today she's being asked child care questions. Yes, Senator Dianne Feinstein, I guess she feels a little embarrassed because at ACB, Amy Coney Barrett's last confirmation hearing for the appeals court position that she's in now, Dianne Feinstein asked her about her Catholic religion. And she didn't just ask her, she told her, she lectured her and said, "You have dogma that lives within you." What does that mean? Everybody has dogma that lives within them if they are a person of faith. Even an atheist has dogma that lives within them, the dogma that they don't believe there is a God. This is ridiculous. The dogma that lives within you is a bigoted way of saying, well, you're a religious Catholic, so you know what? You are not qualified. Well, the Democrats learned that that dog would not hunt. That was not going to go very far. So this time around, what did Dianne Feinstein do? She asked Amy Coney Barrett to introduce her family, which fine, but what does that have to do with the price of tea in China or her position on the Supreme Court? Absolutely nothing. So she asked her to introduce the members of her family. Not only did she introduce all of her children and her husband, but she introduced all of her siblings and her greater extended family. Who cares? This is a waste of time. This is what the Senate does. I guess we should be grateful because the more time they're wasting on this, which is all academic, her nomination is going to go through. So why are we going through this? But the more time they waste on this, I guess the less time they are passing more useless, ridiculous, costly, burdensome laws on us Americans. Still, it's ridiculous. So after she introduced her family members, Senator Dianne Feinstein asked her, how do you do it? How do you raise all of these children? She has 7 children, I guess. How do you raise these children, and how do you do that, and at the same time you are an appeals court judge? Why are you asking these questions? Again, what does it have to do with being on the Supreme Court? She's trying to make nice with Amy Coney Barrett because she told her a few years ago that she had dogma that lives within her. And we're seeing more of the dogma that lives within all of these senators. A half an hour apiece for these blowhards and grandstanders to bloviate ad nauseum, ad absurdum. What is the point? We know the Republicans already have the votes. Are they going to uncover anything earth-shattering? Hell no. They already vetted her. If there was anything about her to be learned, then they would have learned it. Are they going to find out that she pulled somebody's hair in kindergarten? Is that what they're looking for? I don't know. All I know is that all of them, on both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, are getting on my nerves. They're driving me crazy. I give Amy Coney Barrett a lot of credit. I think that she is getting through this with flying colors without, as Senator Cornyn pointed out, without even any notes. She had a pad of paper in front of her with nothing written on it. She remembered all of her decisions that they're asking her about. These senators are doing proctology exams on every single decision and dissent that Amy Coney Barrett has written, and it's just getting absurd. So, for instance, there is this case, and I like this case, and I'll tell you why in a second. It's called Cantor versus Barr. Now, Cantor was an individual, Aaron Cantor, who committed healthcare fraud. He bilked the federal government, but not really. He developed a device, and the government was not finished giving him approval. First, it said it gave him approval, then they took it back. This is what the government does to businesses. So he was frustrated, and he just went ahead and sold his device and told people it was covered by Medicare and Medicaid. So as a result, he was prosecuted. Now, after he got out of federal prison, and he did a year and a day, so he served his time, he went out and got a gun. And as you may know, felons, and he was, since his conviction, a convicted felon, federal felons, and in most cases statewide felons, are not allowed to own firearms. I happen not to agree with that law because I think everyone makes mistakes, even people who are convicted of criminality. Sometimes the felony is something that really isn't a big deal. Sometimes it is a big deal. But regardless, if they haven't been convicted of violent felonies, I believe they should have the right to keep and bear arms. It's a very, very important part of the Bill of Rights. Why is it any less important than the First Amendment, which all felons enjoy once they are out of prison, and even when they are in prison? Why is a Second Amendment right less important? Without the Second Amendment, there is no First Amendment. There isn't anything else in the Bill of Rights to speak of, because if you can't stand up for yourself and defend yourself, forget the rest of it. Just forget about it. So anyway, this man, Aaron Cantor, went out and he bought a firearm. And so this decision, Cantor versus Barr, was about whether or not a convicted felon can own a gun if he is not a felon that was convicted of a violent felony. That was the argument of his lawyers, that he was not convicted of a violent felony. And when these laws were originally written way back when, that was the intent. The intent, and we have to go to the original intent of the writers of the laws, the intent was that people who were convicted of violent felonies would be the ones barred from owning firearms. And that is what Amy Coney Barrett argued in a 37-page dissent. She was on the losing side. So as a result, Aaron Cantor was convicted yet again because he owned a firearm and he was a convicted felon, not again of a violent crime. Now, I like that she wrote this dissent. You know why? Because it goes to show that she is an individual thinker, that she goes and does research way back when. She researched hundreds of years of laws on owning firearms, hundreds of years since the firearms were invented, and weapons before that. She researched what the natural law was, what English law was, English common law, and so on for weapons and so forth. And she applied her own individual, independent spirit and her critical thinking skills, and she said she felt he should have been able to own a firearm and didn't break the law because he was not convicted of a violent felony. That's exactly the kind of judge you want. You want a judge that is an individual thinker, that doesn't just apply mass rules without looking at circumstances. You want somebody that gives thought to each case. And she demonstrated with this case she would do it. But that wasn't good enough for Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois. He gave her a very hard time, tried to make her look like she's some sort of extremist on guns. She's one of these gun nuts, like these alleged terrorists in Michigan, and so on. And she is no such thing. She is an individual, a person who is individually spirited, who believes in freedom and individualism, and that is exactly the kind of person we want on the Supreme Court. I give her a lot of credit. Now, I just want to finish up before we go to the break on Amy Coney Barrett, and I just want to say this. The other Amy at this hearing, Senator Amy Klobuchar, was just absolutely embarrassing. Her bloviating, rose, or I should say sank, to a new level. Senator Klobuchar, I worship the ground on which you slither. I mean, this woman is horrible. And don't forget, this is the woman that was running for president, could not even win her own state. She was going to come in third, which is why she withdrew before the Minnesota primary. This is the woman who yelled and screamed at her staff one day because they got her a salad and they forgot to bring a plastic fork. Plastic fork for a woman, by the way, who claims that there is global warming and climate change, and it's all our fault for having things like plastic forks and an oil industry. Yes, plastic is a byproduct of oil. Yes, it is. Amy Klobuchar, you maybe should get a lesson in that. So after she got mad at her staff, she pulled out an old, dirty, ratty comb from her purse and started using that as a fork in her salad. Yes, this is the senator that was telling off Amy Klobuchar through her embarrassing questions. So I have had enough. They should just vote already. Enough. This is pointless and a waste of our time. When we come back, we are going to have our latest installment of what I call Joe Bonics, and Senator Kramer is interviewed, and we will show you what he said to a national media outlet. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
You just might find the home of your dreams this weekend by watching the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes Sundays at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 on Beck, featuring properties from Bismarck, Mandan, Minot, and surrounding areas. The Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes presents desirable properties that are for sale, lets you meet your Alliance realtors, and provides critical insights into local happenings from community and business leaders. Join us this Sunday evening at 6 or Wednesday at 7 for the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes on Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
As the mayor of Bismarck, I invite you to join together today and stand united in the fight to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Case counts are steadily on the rise in the Bismarck-Mandan metro area, so please do your part. Protect yourself and others by wearing a mask when you're not at home. During the pandemic response, scientists have determined wearing a mask is a benefit to you and to those around you. This help keeps others from getting sick and may lessen the severity of illness if you were infected with COVID-19. We're all in this together. So let's get kids back to school, preserve our local economy, and keep our community strong. Let's show everyone how we come together to keep Bismarck the safe, resilient community we know and love. For more information, visit health.nd.gov/coronavirus. That's health.nd.gov/coronavirus.
Bismarck Central, 4800.
4800, go ahead.
Requesting social services on-call team.
Stand by. 4800 social services requesting additional information.
You can advise social services that we have an 18-month-old female who was in a residence with a mother, now being transported to medical care for overdose.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were talking about the Amy Coney Barrett nomination. I just wanted to add one more thing. She mentioned in her opening statement yesterday, and this is true and it's another good thing, that she, if she is confirmed, and she will be the only sitting member of the Supreme Court who is not a graduate of Yale or Harvard or an Ivy League school. And that is a good thing, because enough of that. We don't want elitists deciding everything. We want people who are regular Americans, not that she would be a regular American being on the Supreme Court, but people that are more in touch with the rest of us. And when everybody on that court is from Harvard and Yale, what do they know about the rest of America? Not very much, and it's not a good thing. America is not just elitists from the finest so-called finest schools. Now, on to something else, and that is our presidential election. So, Joe Biden has done it again, and this is the latest installment of Joe Bonix. Take a look at this video.
You may remember I got in trouble when we were running against the senator who was a Mormon, the governor, okay? And I took him on.
He doesn't remember Mitt Romney's name. He has, at other appearances, he had one in Ohio where he didn't remember what he was running for. He said he was running for the U.S. Senate. He has forgotten where he is, what city or what state. And fine, some rock bands do that when they're traveling around the country, but they have an excuse. They've been drinking and doing drugs all night. What's his excuse? His excuse is he has dementia. This is the man running to be our next president, and he can't remember, the Mormon senator, that guy, the governor, him, him, the guy. This is going to be our next president. And then Kamala Harris will be our next president 2 hours later. That's what's going to happen. Are these the people you want running this country? Because I don't. And I don't think it's going to be very good for anybody if you have a guy who cannot remember anything, cannot remember where he is, where he's been, what he's running for, what the name of that, the Mormon senator, the governor, what his name is. Enough. This guy is not competent. He is not legally competent to be the head of this ballot, to be atop this ticket. This is not funny. And then you contrast that, by the way, to President Trump in Florida last night. This guy's got the vim and vigor, the strength, the memory of a 20-something-year-old, and he's 74. This guy is 78 going on 98. Enough already. And nothing against 98-year-olds. I'm sure there are plenty of them that are much sharper than this guy. But they are not running to take over the country, to run it into the ground in his case. This is very, very scary. So Joe Bonix, this is the latest installment. We're sure there will be many, many more episodes of this, because Joe Bonix is the gift that keeps on giving. Unfortunately, the joke is on you, America, and you, North Dakota. So Senator Kramer was interviewed by Axios. It's a liberal media outlet. People in Axios are former liberal reporters from they're liberal former reporters from Associated Press, the Washington Post, and so on. So it was founded by some writers from the Washington Post, and Senator Kramer was interviewed by one of them. And I want you to listen to this gotcha interview. They're trying to get him, and they did not succeed.
Like, what is your view on this, starting, which is sort of the question, do you think the coronavirus in general is more dangerous than the flu?
Well, the coronavirus is more dangerous than the flu because we know a lot less about it. We'll see, I guess, if it's ultimately more dangerous, but it certainly has been more persistent. The part of the issue, though, where I think the president was right early on, because of how little we knew, he helped shut down large parts of the economy.
But couldn't he have done more early on? Like that Woodward book, where he says, where he has on tape, where the president's saying, you breathe the air, and that's how it's passed. It's also more deadly than even your strenuous flu. He knows this early on. Then he goes on for, like, since then to basically downplay it, basically not telling people to wear a mask when he knew that you needed to be wearing a mask, and not to take the threat more seriously. Do you think that he made a mistake?
We gotta stop this tape, because Anthony Fauci is the one that told Americans not to wear a mask. It was not President Trump. So that is a lie right there. Senator Kramer did a great job of answering those questions. he really knows how to handle this guy. I was very, very impressed. Not surprised. He's a smart guy, Senator Kramer. And this guy tried to get him to say, oh, yeah, the president's nuts. Anthony Fauci is the one. Remember, Anthony Fauci told America, don't wear a mask. If you wear a mask, it'll make it worse. Do you remember that? Because I remember that. And then he later said, well, you know what? I lied. I told America that because there weren't enough masks and I didn't want the supply to run out. So he's the boy who cried wolf. He is the one, not the president, who told people don't wear a mask. And you probably saw this story. You may have seen this Trump campaign ad. The Trump campaign is running an ad with Anthony Fauci saying what he said, which is he told a TV interviewer, I can't imagine that anybody could be doing more, meaning President Trump could not have done more. He can't imagine anybody doing more on COVID. So the Trump campaign is running an ad with that quote, which Anthony Fauci said, and he admits he said it. And he's all upset, and he said, by doing this against my will, they are in effect harassing me. So now when somebody says something in support of the president and they want to take it back and they are upset that it's being used in a campaign commercial, now that's the new definition of harassment. Really? Come on. All right, when we come back, we will see the rest of this snippet of the interview because I was very impressed, and I want you to see what Senator Kramer had to say. More after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Is your business phone system outdated and expensive to maintain? Most large VoIP companies leave you on hold or struggling through online support and training for your employees. With Beck Connect, you always have fast, friendly, local support. Familiar faces with the know-how to keep you connected. Take advantage of the newest technology in voice calling, video conferencing, and virtual meeting rooms. Beck Connect gives you all the features you need with no upfront investment and no obsolete hardware or software ever again. Simplify your communications. Choose local. Choose Beck Connect.
Everybody needs an off-season, but our announcers have a tough time slowing down.
Incredible! For the second time today, Brent has jammed the printer.
Really tough time.
He swiftly brings it down the lane, and he carries it down the stairway. And he finishes with a slam.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at AccordSleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
You're looking for secure private cloud storage, but who can you trust? Big tech companies don't always keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business information away from prying eyes. Your local Beck Lightband Internet Services comes with 50 gigs of Beck Cloud Backup free. Hometown service with top-tier security to keep your data truly safe and private. Get your 50 gigs free today. Call 701-475-2361 and ask about Beck Cloud Backup.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, I talked about this ad that Anthony Fauci says is harassing him because it has what he actually said. Take a look.
President Trump is recovering from the coronavirus, and so is America. Together, we rose to meet the challenge, protecting our seniors, getting them life-saving drugs in record time, sparing no expense. President Trump tackled the virus head-on, as leaders should.
I can't imagine that anybody could be doing more.
We'll get through this together. We'll live carefully, but not afraid.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
He said it. It's not harassing him or anyone to show what he said. He said it. And you know what? He was absolutely right when he said that. What would Joe Biden do more or differently? Nothing. What would Kamala Harris do more or differently? Nothing, except they would not have stopped the flights from China. They would not have stopped the travel from Europe or anywhere else. And things would be a lot worse. We all know that. By the way, I'm glad that the World Health Organization has since said, and they are backing the president, they just issued this statement, that we in the World Health Organization do not advocate lockdowns as the primary means of control of this virus. Lockdowns can only be justified to buy you time to reorganize, regroup, rebalance your resources, protect your healthcare workers who are exhausted. But by and large, we'd rather not do it, and we don't recommend it. Yeah, all these lockdowns, all these liberal governors are doing, the World Health Organization says no. All these lockdowns Anthony Fauci supported, that the president allowed to happen, they're against it. So let's go back to the interview that Senator Kramer was doing with Axios, because he did a stellar job. Watch this.
Well, here's what gives me the most comfort is the fact that while he had Anthony Fauci standing next to him for every day for several weeks, a lot of conservative people felt like and still feel like Anthony Fauci has too much influence over the decisions of the president. At the same time, other people are arguing that the president doesn't have enough respect for the things that Anthony Fauci has said and says. And I think that's part of the frustration that he feels is that if you do, if you don't.
But he didn't, and a lot of people, right? Like if he would have just said, listen, like everyone wear a mask, it's a pain in the ass, but wear a mask, have do social distancing, wash your hands, say that on a regular basis. There would be people probably that would be alive today that aren't. Shouldn't he have done that? Isn't that where this idea of like belching out every idea that you have can become really dangerous?
So again, I get your criticism. His stream of consciousness is thinking out loud. In fact, much of what he does, my observation at least, has been that he allows the debates to take shape in the sphere around him, and then he makes up his mind.
But there's not a debate in the science. There's no doubt that wearing the proper type of mask will at least keep me, if I had it, from spreading it. So why wouldn't you tell people to do that?
So here's where I think a lot of people, why they love Donald Trump. A lot of people that I serve especially like Donald Trump, because he does put freedom ahead of all the other blessings. Now, you might argue, yes, but we're talking about human life here. But part of the freedom that he supports so strongly is our states' rights, federalism.
Right.
Now, you may not like how he talks about it, but he does talk about individual freedoms and local control of things in a meaningful way that frankly, draws a lot of the support.
If you're not wearing a mask because Trump doesn't wear a mask, he ripped it off even when he had the disease. How cool is that? Well, not that cool if you have the disease and you're spreading it, right?
The president made it pretty clear. It's patriotic to wear a mask. I mean, I think he even said those exact words or something to that effect.
Talk to anybody around him, like the culture around him is like, you are a wimp if you wear a mask. And that's why no one in that White House did. It's why people call us to this day complaining that I might be getting COVID because I'm going to look like a wimp internally because it's now a signal of strength that I don't wear a mask. That is on him.
I don't know. I know there are a lot of people that if he created a mask mandate, wouldn't have worn a mask. In other words,
but there's a lot that would have too, right? If Trump said, listen, you can be a tough guy and you can wear a mask, you're trying to tell me that a lot more people wouldn't wear masks?
I think the President Trump's default position is generally for individual responsibility and individual outcomes. And so while he's said it's up to you, that's a respect.
Right.
That is in and of itself the ultimate respect in a self-governed country.
Right on, Senator Kramer. And I'm glad that he used the words that we believe here on this show. Individual freedom, individual responsibility, states' rights. That's what it's all about. That's what America used to be about before all these crazy liberals took this virus and used it as an opportunity. They are opportunists to take away our freedoms. Good for him. I think he responded appropriately and fabulously. And listen, that reporter was absolutely wrong. He said that there's no doubt that masks protect you from spreading the disease. There is a doubt. Where is the science and the proof on that? There is a doubt. Not only is there a doubt, there's no evidence that they prevent them. All of these states, all of these countries where wearing masks were mandatory, Wisconsin, Israel, Canada, New York, it has spread. Now they're seeing these huge upticks in cases, these huge surges, that all they talk about with these surges is North and South Dakota, because they don't want to focus on the mask thing. The other thing is that he said that Donald Trump never said there should be social distancing. What? Donald Trump has been saying the whole time social distancing. I bet if I went through the clips, I could find over 1,000 times that the president has mentioned social distancing, or at least around that number, since the COVID outbreak in March when things got serious. Now, where was that reporter's mask? Why wasn't he wearing that one? He was maybe about 6 feet from Senator Kramer. I'm not sure. But 6 feet is not an absolute. It's a guidepost. He was talking very vehemently. His breath and his germs were spreading. Where was his mask? If he's so concerned about masks. He isn't. What he's concerned about is putting Senator Kramer in a gotcha moment about the president. And Senator Kramer played him like a fiddle. He handled that very deftly. Very, very good. Kudos, Senator Kramer. Lucky to have him representing our state in the U.S. Senate. Now, speaking of COVID, so as I have told you, teachers are drama queens. Teachers' unions are the Drama Queen Incorporated organization. Teachers have been making these phony wills. They've been writing their obituaries. These are drama queens. Most teachers are not getting sick, and there are very few that have died. And you know what? If people can be grocery checkout clerks and cashiers, then you can go to school and teach kids. It's just ridiculous. But these drama queens don't want to go back to school. We talked about this yesterday, that 29% of Minnesota teachers said they're going to retire. Well, North Dakota United on their Facebook page said, teachers want to return to school because they understand the positive developments that can happen to build these relationships with students, but they also want to make sure it's safe to do, said Nick Archuleta, North Dakota United president. How can it be any safer? All these precautions are being taken. Cleaning is constantly going on. There are barriers. People are wearing masks at the schools. Kids can't even carry or put their backpacks in lockers, which I don't get. Please, stop whining, stop the drama, and just do your job. Shut up and teach. When we come back, what happened with 26,000 ballots in Burleigh County? Something very fishy. And also, why hasn't North Dakota spent even half of its $1.25 billion in CARES Act money? They could lose that money. We'll tell you about it after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
As the mayor of Bismarck, I invite you to join together to get our kids back to school, preserve our local economy, and keep Bismarck safe, strong, and resilient. A community task force has been launched to slow the spread of COVID-19 in our community. We're all in this together. Protect yourself and others by doing your part. Wear a mask when you're out and about, and slow the spread of COVID-19. For more information, visit health.nd.gov/coronavirus.
I just went in for a regular mammogram and I found out that I had a little tumor. Through the exam and the biopsy, it was determined that I had cancer.
I got a call from one of my doctors that I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
After 5 years, they found a local reoccurrence.
The first thing you hear when you're told you have a cancer, it's a little daunting because you don't know where to go with it.
Since 1999, in a partnership between CHI St. Alexius Health and Sanford Health Bismarck, the Bismarck Cancer Center has provided the most advanced radiation therapies and holistic support services for cancer patients and their loved ones for 20 years.
I've been at the Bismarck Cancer Center since it started. I actually was in the basement of Med Center 1 before, when we had old machines and old equipment. And thankfully, the two hospitals at the time, St. Alexius and Med Center 1, joined forces to create the Bismarck Cancer Center.
I walk in the door, I get nothing but hugs, and I was marveled at them. I mean, I thought it was the best place in the world.
The staff is unbelievably compassionate, and they explain everything to you.
Everybody's genuinely concerned about your well-being, and the level of care is just top-notch. The Cancer Center just does such an amazing job of helping people.
To me and my family, the Cancer Center means life. It's given me the ability to live out my life with my family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren.
Because of them, I'm 2 years out. Get to move on with my life, make a difference now for other people.
I would recommend this center because the minute you walk through that door, they've got your back.
This center means so much to me and to the people that are in this building, and we just want to keep giving it back to the community and providing for them what they need.
I'm Katie. I've been cancer-free for 2 years.
I'm Steve, and I've been cancer-free for 4 years.
I've been cancer-free for 10 years.
10 years.
11 years. 15 years.
My name is Lainey, and I've been cancer-free for 18 years.
Bismarck Cancer Center, your partner against cancer for 20 years.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. On this show, we have talked about many instances of ballots getting lost, strange things happening, ballots getting found with votes already on them, ballots being addressed to somebody with the wrong name on the ballot, and so on. There are a lot of fishy things going on. We talked about 9 ballots from military members in Pennsylvania, 7 of which we know for sure were votes for the president that were thrown out. So a lot of weird things are happening. And that includes in Burleigh County, North Dakota. Now, we're not suggesting that there is any foul play, but 26,000 ballots were sent out by the Burleigh County Auditor's Office. And many of those ballots didn't contain a ballot. They were just an envelope that said your ballot is contained inside. No ballot. What's even fishier is that some of the people who got these said that they never asked for a ballot by mail or an absentee ballot. They wanted to go vote on Election Day, such as the Lorenz family. Kevin Lorenz said he and his wife received absentee ballot envelopes they did not request. I didn't request one. I mean, my plans were to go vote in person. Instead, they got an envelope with no ballot inside. Why is this happening? Now, the Burleigh County elections manager, Erica White, says that it's just human error. But this is very weird. If you did not order a ballot and 26,000 went out, many to people who didn't order a ballot, what's going on there? Why is that happening? In addition to that, if the ballots are missing from the envelopes, where did they go? They must be accounted for, because if there are even a significant portion of 26,000 ballots that are just out there, somebody can vote them, get them somehow into the ballot pool, that is election fraud. That can skew elections. Now, maybe not the Trump election in North Dakota, but remember, in my native Michigan, President Trump only beat Hillary Clinton by around 10,000 votes. We're talking about 26,000 votes here. In a state like North Dakota, where there are only 762,062 people, that is a very large percentage of ballots of ballots that are screwed up. They're missing ballots. They're just an envelope. They're sent to people who didn't order them. That is very weird. And you can't just say, oh, this was human error and that's it. These 26,000 ballots all have to be accounted for. And we have to find out why the Lorenzes, who never asked for them, got these envelopes. Why did that happen? What is going on here? Things are not always as they seem, as we say at the end of this show every day. And in this case, I believe that is 100% apt. Now, when it comes to money, not just elections, but money spent by the people we elect, I don't understand this. North Dakota got $1.25 billion in CARES Act money. That's a lot of money. That was meant to help people and businesses, people who lost their jobs, businesses that either had to shut down completely or that are struggling to survive, and so on. We force people to stay home. We force businesses to shut down. That money should all be spent. That's ours. You all paid taxes in North Dakota to get this money. You paid over the years through the nose. This is our money. This should be spent. But you know what? The North Dakota legislature hasn't spent more than half the money. They allocated all of it, but they didn't spend those allocations. And you know what happens if they don't spend it? It goes back to the federal government, and North Dakota loses out on more than half of $1.25 billion. So we're talking about a whole lot of money. That's more than $600 million, more than $610 million. That is a lot of money to just let the federal government take back when it could be helping countless North Dakotans. Now, the state of North Dakota, the legislature, and the government only have until New Year's Eve. That is the deadline to spend all this money. Not just allocate it, but actually send it out. This could save a lot of North Dakota businesses, could save a lot of North Dakota households, people who are wondering, how are they going to pay their rent? Part of this money goes to that rent program we told you about a few weeks ago. People are struggling to survive. Businesses are struggling to survive. Spend that money. There should be none left at the end of the year. On December 30th, it should all be gone. Don't wait till December 31st. This money should be spent. It's ours. Don't give it back to the rich fat cats in Washington and these bloviators we saw on TV at the Amy Coney Barrett hearings to spend on something stupid. You know they will. Spend it on North Dakota. Now, talking about something else, I want to know this, and this also has to do with the elections. Facebook. I am tired of Facebook electioneering. Facebook is putting up all kinds of warnings on people's posts when they say things that Facebook doesn't agree with. Facebook is trying to control the election, and Facebook is no longer an independent publisher. Facebook is now an editorial publisher. They decide things, and to that end, Facebook is getting involved even more than that in the election. Facebook is recruiting 100,000 poll workers. Do you really want your poll workers to be people selected by Facebook? I don't. I want people who are working the polls to be people who volunteered. Yes, they're getting paid, but it's a small amount of money. They do this. It's basically a job because they're retired. They need something to do. They're good civic citizens, and they want to make sure to help out so that we have effective elections that function smoothly. Good for them. But I don't want Facebook recruiting them. That bothers me. We know Facebook is extremely liberal. We know Facebook has censored conservatives repeatedly. I know a lot of people, including myself, who've been put in Facebook jail for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, even 6 months. This cannot stand. You don't want an organization that does that to conservatives over nothing to be involved in our elections. What kind of election fraud is going to go on? Facebook is skewed a certain way. The election workers that they recruit will be skewed that way as well. Count on it. Facebook, stay out of my politics. Stay out of my life. Unfortunately, Facebook wants to control everything. Now, speaking also about the election and some other unwanted interlopers, Michelle Obama. We told you Michelle Obama was involved in this group. We talked about it. She's involved in a group called When We All Vote. She made some advertisement with this low-life rapper who called women, well, it rhymes with witches, and it's short for a word for prostitute. And now she's teaming up with another annoyance who also wants to get involved and control all of our lives, LeBron James. And I'm sorry, he is not a king. Stop calling him King LeBron. America got rid of royalty, I thought, in 1776 when we told King George goodbye. All right? But now we seem to like these dynasties and these people that want to control everything merely because they're celebrities. He's an athlete. She is a wife of her president. She was never on any ballot. Stay out of my elections. But sadly, for the next 2 weeks, they are in our elections, or the next 2.5 weeks till the elections. LeBron James and Michelle Obama are providing food, information, music, transportation to get people to vote in places like Philadelphia, Atlanta, Detroit, other big cities. This is not a good thing. I don't want them taking people to vote. A vote is, yes, it's a right, but it's a privilege. You don't want idiots voting in our elections because somebody bussed them there and gave them a free donut. Come on, America. This is getting out of hand. When we come back, we will talk about something really, really cool that is orbiting Earth, and it's called the mini moon. I'll explain after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
You just might find the home of your dreams this weekend by watching the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes Sundays at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 on Beck, featuring properties from Bismarck, Mandan, Minot, and surrounding areas. The Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes presents desirable properties that are for sale, lets you meet your Alliance realtors, and provides critical insights into local happenings from community and business leaders. Join us this Sunday evening at 6 or Wednesday at 7 for the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes on Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Beautiful day to get out on the course, isn't it, Corey?
Without a doubt, Brian. And Scotty here was thinking the exact same thing.
There's a lot on the line for him today. He told his friends he's a scratch golfer, but the numbers today suggest otherwise. Ooh, swing and a miss.
Looks like he's excited to find that Titleist. Unfortunately, he was playing with mojos.
Ooh, and a major infraction just occurred. Can we get another look at that?
As from my angle, it looks like he's got about a 10, 12-foot putt slightly.
As the mayor of Bismarck, I invite you to join together to get our kids back to school, preserve our local economy, and keep Bismarck safe, strong, and resilient. A community task force has been launched to slow the spread of COVID-19 in our community. We're all in this together. Protect yourself and others by doing your part. Wear a mask when you're out and about, and slow the spread of COVID-19. For more information, visit health.nd.gov/coronavirus.
Trusting your digital life to faceless tech giants can be risky. Will they keep your family and business information truly safe from prying eyes? If you subscribe to local Beck Lightband Internet service, you already have Beck Cloud Backup. Beck Cloud Backup is the safest, most private cloud storage for all your family memories, schoolwork, and business documents. Call 701-475-2361 to start using your free space on Beck Cloud Backup today.
So something really cool is going on. We told you that until the end of the month, Mars is as close to the Earth as it's going to be in the next 15 to 17 years. And now there's something else, something called a mini moon. But it's not really a moon. It's not even an asteroid as maybe once thought. It is space junk, and it's dubbed 2020 SO, and it's going to be pulling closer to Earth in the coming weeks, orbiting us and circling the planet until it returns to its own track. It is apparently, according to the experts, part of a rocket from a failed moon landing mission in 1966. So if you always wondered what happens to the trash, what happens to the junk that astronauts in our space program and others leave in space, well, this is it. You're going to see it orbiting Earth. And I think it's really cool. Mini moons usually were space rocks, and this is just space junk. But it's really neat. If you're into outer space as I am, and you've got to watch this video because my producer Anthony, who's even more of a Star Wars-ophile than I am, found this. Just shows how prescient those movies were.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
See? Star Wars, they foretold. They foretold the space junk orbiting Earth. Now, speaking of something else that's not so cool, hugging cows. Yes, this has unfortunately become a thing. Where the hell is people for the ethical treatment of animals when you need them? People are hugging cows as a form of therapy. This is animal abuse. Apparently, this practice started in a rural town in the Netherlands, and it has gained global popularity. All right, this is our first please make it stop segment. Please make it stop. This is horrible. Horrible. Hugging cows, please. Bovines are not meant to be hugged by humans. And this is just one step away from something even worse. So please, don't go there. Stay away from the animals. Come on. It's in your best interest, and it's definitely in the animal's best interest. They don't want you doing that. I'm sure they don't. An update. We talked about the alleged plot against Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Several individuals allegedly planned to kidnap her, put her on trial, and kill her. And as we have said, we condemn this, but this is not something done by right-wingers, as they told you. They said this was the far right, it was white supremacists, it was people who support the president. Nothing could be farther from the truth. In fact, as we said on the show, there was only evidence that one of these 13 men, just one out of 13, it's less than 10%, was a supporter of the president. Now it has come out that allegedly these individuals also wanted to target the governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam. Remember him with the blackface? Remember this guy who, in his medical school yearbook, who has a medical school yearbook? Maybe they have them still, I don't know. He was posing in blackface, and he got away with it, which a conservative never would have gotten away with. So supposedly they were targeting him too. But I want to get into something more about these individuals. As I said, the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, she is still all over the TV. I think today she was on the Hagfest on ABC, known as The View, and she was repeatedly spouting what she said before, that the president inspired this. He did not. These people did not like the president, that the conservatives who are protesting her lockdowns, that they're the same people. They are not. You know what the people who are protesting her lockdowns did? The day they had a protest scheduled, when this whole plot came out last week, they said a prayer for her. How many people think a Black Lives Matter protest would say a prayer for any of us who oppose them? Think again. So these individuals are not conservatives. One person, Daniel Harris. Take a look at this guy, Daniel Harris. He was
Trump is not your friend, dude. And it amazes me that people actually believe that when he's shown over and over and over again that he's a tyrant. Every single person that works for government is your enemy, dude.
See, so I talked over that, but he said that President Trump, that you can't trust him. He's a tyrant. You heard that. And that you can't trust anyone in government. He's an anarchist. These guys are anarchists. Many of them. That's what they are. Anarchists are more likely to be in Antifa, and some of these people had Antifa. That guy had an Antifa symbol on his wall in that video. I don't know if you caught that. He is Antifa. That is the left. Antifa, anti-fascist, they are the left. And then this other guy, Daniel Harris, I think we have a picture of him. He was a Black Lives Matter protester. And don't believe me, believe the Oakland County Times newspaper and believe the Washington Post, which both reported that Daniel Harris attended Black Lives Matter protests and he was a supporter. These are not conservatives. They are not white supremacists. They are not right-wingers. They are not even far right-wingers. They are not fascists. They are anti-fascists. They are leftists. They are anarchists. They are more likely to be part of Gretchen Whitmer. I was about to say the former governor of Michigan's name. They are more likely to be part of Gretchen Whitmer's universe than President Trump's. So her claim otherwise is just simply a lie. And remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow.